While I was coming here today, I was talking to my twin brother, who's in Canada right now. He told me he was proud of me and said, I wish even I could give a TED talk someday. And I started wondering, how often do we hear people say something like, I want to achieve something big, I want to make an impact on the society, I want to be recognized. Why do humans have this feeling? Well, that's because the human desire to achieve greatness is deeply ingrained in our evolutionary history. Since the dawn of time, humans have been driven to grow, evolve, and become better versions of ourselves. And one crucial factor, which has played a major role in human growth and development, is our ability to dream big. Dreams have inspired artists, writers, scientists, inventors, and entrepreneurs throughout history. 5,000 years ago, someone felt the need for easier transportation, and the wheel was invented. In the 19th century, Alexander Graham Bell had a dream in which he heard a human voice speaking through the wire. That's how we got our first telephone. In the 20th century, Jeff Bezos wanted to create an online store where you could sell anything and everything. Today, Amazon is the largest retailer in the world with a market cap of more than $1.6 trillion. Now, these are just some examples of how dreamers have become entrepreneurs. Dreamers dream, dreams lead to visions, visions lead to ideas, and that's the first stage, the ideation stage. The second stage is the planning stage, where you make a detailed plan to execute the idea. And the third stage is the execution stage, where you execute the plan that you've made. And once you cross all three stages, you finally become an entrepreneur. Looks simple and easy, but it isn't. There's a reason why less than 5% of India's population and less than 7% of the worldwide population are entrepreneurs. And that's because just after the planning stage and before the execution stage, you might have to cross another round, which is the pre-seed funding stage. Now, depending on the capital requirement of your business and your financial capacity, you might have to raise funds even before you start the business. And that's called the pre-seed funding stage, where you raise funds just basis an idea. Now, because this round or this stage involves betting on an idea, it is typically more challenging to secure. Because the investor is just completely betting on the founder to execute the plan exactly as per what is being forecasted. The product may not even make it to the market. This is the first and toughest stage of fundraising, which gives you a chance at your dream. This is also the stage where most dreamers remain dreamers. But after today, this stage is not going to be a problem for you guys because you would have already cracked the code of pre-seed funding. Now, like most entrepreneurs, my journey also started by being a dreamer. Since childhood, I've had ideas come to me about something that I could do or something that I could be. And it was not always serious. Mostly it was about turning into a Super Saiyan or saving my school from a giant insect. But as I grew older and passed my teenage years, my imagination started shifting towards ideas that could really make a change in the world, in whatever little way possible. And this journey of serious ideas started in college. From an e-commerce website to a healthcare app to a hiring app to construction tech, I thought of multiple ideas. But unfortunately, I never executed any of them, simply because of lack of knowledge or expertise in that sector, and sometimes because of pure procrastination. So for a very long time, I was in the ideation stage. But in the last year of my college, there was an innovation concept show being organized, in which you could showcase your unique innovations and ideas to a panel of judges. And I had recently been working on a diversification strategy for one of the biggest Indian conglomerates. And I thought it was a unique idea. So I decided to participate in this innovation concept show. The idea was to make toys out of recyclable plastic. Now, every year, this Indian company produces more than 1 billion blue bottles for their hair oil brand. Now, these bottles are made of HDPE plastic, which is high density polyethylene plastic, which is the highest form of recyclable plastic present on the planet today. I thought, let's use their existing supply chain to collect these bottles back, recycle them, and make toys. The toy industry in India is largely unorganized and has huge potential. So I thought it could be a good CSR activity for the company, while simultaneously they could set up a new line of business. Unfortunately, I didn't win the first prize in the concept show, or the second, or even the third. But anyone and everyone who visited my stall gave me a lot of appreciation and told me that you should pitch it to the company, and who knows, they might actually do something about it. And I started thinking that for the first time in my life, I'd reached the planning stage and it was not my business, so I couldn't execute it. So let me pitch it to the company and see how far this idea goes. So I started reaching out to people from the company, and one fine day, I met the head of sustainability. Now you must be thinking that I would have given a wonderful pitch and this was the turning point in my life. And to be honest, I thought so too. I thought they would immediately start a new vertical or a new company. They'll appoint me as the CEO. If not the CEO, then the COO. If not the COO, then probably the business head. And worst case, they wouldn't want to lose a talent like me. And they'll offer me a high paying job. In that meeting, I was criticized for 15 minutes straight by the head of sustainability. He told me that anyone could have done what you have done. But if you would have visited our manufacturing plants, met rack pickers, understood the dynamics of this whole ecosystem in detail, then at least you would have had a realistic plan. But still, you're so naive that you should have stopped right where you thought that you would convince a hair oil company to start a toy vertical. Here we take years to shift from shampoo to conditioner. So opening up a toy vertical will not happen in this lifetime. They gave me a brutal reality check. They showed me how the real world is so different to the world we have in our minds when we are in college. I had made a fool out of myself, but it also taught me a very important lesson. That knowledge is power. Power that is unmatched. If you are in business, if you have more knowledge than your competitors day in, day out, then no one can ever overtake you. And it all starts by understanding the whole ecosystem to the minutest of details. So I was grateful for his time and the lesson it taught me, because with one single honest effort, I now knew what it would take to reach the execution stage. After college, I started working as a commercial real estate investment professional with a large MNC. And during this time, I got connected to co-living companies. Now, co-living companies had a very genuine demand and a very genuine offering. Migrant working professionals and students often struggle with finding good spaces to stay. And these companies were providing fully furnished spaces with zero hassles and all facilities. You could move in with just 2 bags. And I immediately resonated with this concept because throughout my college life and office life, I had seen people struggle with finding good accommodation and managing their households. Every Sunday, my friends had a plan of either cleaning their house or rearranging their wardrobe or going grocery shopping. And it's not like they wanted to do it. Not at all. They could rather be focusing on something else in life. They were frustrated and I knew it. So I started working with the biggest companies in this space. And I got so involved over a period of time that I started advising them which properties to take up and which properties to leave. And since I was working very closely with the promoters, I got to understand how these companies actually worked and what each company was offering to the consumer. On the other hand, through my company, I was getting in touch with organizations which had a demand for co-living spaces. In a year's time, I had real-time ground knowledge of the supply and demand of this sector. The one thing that I had been lacking had now become my strength. And one fine day I noticed that there's still a huge gap between what is being expected by consumers and what is being delivered by these companies. The crux of co-living is community living, and nobody was focusing on it. So I thought, let me start a company which predominantly focuses on community living and identified other USPs that we could possess to be an industry leader. I thought, if they can do it, then I can do it too. But as soon as this thought came into my mind, I knew that I would have to raise funds on a pre-seed level and just on the idea basis because it was a capital intensive business. And I didn't want to mess it up like last time. So I started, studying about building companies, fundraising, product management, finance, legal, compliance. And most importantly, I started traveling across the country to understand this market pan-India. I visited Delhi, Gurgaon, Noida, Greater Noida, Kota, Jaipur, Vadodara, Ahmedabad, Indore, Bhopal, Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, Nasik, Manipal, Mangalore, Bangalore, Chennai and Hyderabad. Just to understand the living conditions of these people, to understand the paying capacity of migrant working professionals and students, and to understand the mindset of landlords. Because to be honest, I was very disappointed with what was going on. There were so many clusters of PGs and hostels in these cities, and with absolutely no focus on hygiene whatsoever. There was no safety or security, low quality of food, and even lesser quality of life. Even today, people live in those spaces. Surviving is probably the right word. And that's where I got the motivation to name my company Livit. Don't just survive, live it. After I was done with my old research, I knew that I'd crossed the ideation stage and I'd crossed the planning stage. It was time to cross the pre-seed funding stage and go to execution. So with a highly research-backed report and a realistic report, I started pitching to investors. And I had so much thought clarity that I struck a deal with the first investor I reached out to. But in the end, because of some unforeseen liquidity issues at the investors' end, the deal didn't go through. And for the next 6 months, I kept on reaching out to investors, but couldn't get even one single meeting. Now, in that moment, I started realizing and started thinking that probably this was just another dream, that I would never be able to cross the line and become an entrepreneur. And I was scared of being stuck to being a dreamer, always. But fortunately, one day, I got connected to Rashmi Sharma Telefilms. They are one of the biggest TV production houses in the country today. Luckily, I got a meeting, and there it was. Another chance for me to turn my idea into reality, to finally become an entrepreneur. My pitch was simple and clear. I told them that out of 8 billion people in this world, 2 billion are millennials, people between the age group of 18 to 30. And this is the largest demographic group in the world. Coincidentally, this demographic group also has the most happening life. They have just turned adults, they go to college, meet new people, make new friends, travel across the country, across the world, get married in their mid or late 20s. But still, this demographic group is the loneliest demographic group across the world. Why? Because these people are always on the move. Transient populations make it very difficult to make connects in a new city when people are always coming in and going out. Greater reliance on technology and its uninterrupted usage is another. Today we have got gaming platforms, OTT platforms, social media platforms, which immediately substitute for human interaction whenever you want. And they are highly addictive as well. As a result, this demographic group has more social connections than real connections. And unfortunately or fortunately, India has the largest chunk of this demographic group, 22% or 44 crores across the world. After 2 to 3 hours of in-depth discussion on, the market, the challenges, the market size, our USPs, our competitors, our projections and future valuations, I told them that these are the years that young adults turn into the individuals that they're going to be throughout their lives. And instead of focusing on less important things like what food to eat or where to arrange the maid from or where to give the laundry, they should be focusing on things that they really want to do and they really want to achieve. It's high time we let them live big, create the right energy, let them thrive. And while they do so, we keep them as happy as we can by giving them 3 things: a hassle-free lifestyle, lots of amenities, and a vibrant community. And when I was finished, they were so impressed that they decided to invest close to $1 million in the company with further commitment up to $2 million. I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. I'd raised the biggest ever pre-seed funding round for an asset-light operator in the Indian co-living industry at just 25 years of age. Now, a lot can happen through luck in life, but you certainly can't raise funds through luck. So after a few months, I asked my investor, why did you invest in Livit? And he said, I could see your passion and the clarity in your thoughts. You had a very clear vision. It's like you knew exactly what you wanted to do, and I just needed to give you the money to do it. And in that moment, I realized that all my life experiences till then were leading me up to this single moment and this one single pitch. And I did exactly what needs to happen at a pre-seed funding stage. You guys can make a note over here. The first thing is passion. I really felt the issue of urban loneliness and the problem for finding good accommodation by migrant working professionals and students, because I had seen ground reality with my own eyes. My intent was so pure that the investors could feel my passion. If you're passionate about something, the investors will see it. You can't fake this one. The second thing, domain experts. I had been working in this industry for a very long time and had gathered huge knowledge to be considered a domain expert. Obviously, no investor wants to invest in something or in someone who will learn the business with their money. Thirdly, realistic and achievable plan. I was connected to ground reality. So I had a realistic plan, but more importantly, it was achievable. Also, I displayed just enough confidence for them to feel that I could bounce back from any setback, no matter what, and keep moving forward. They could sense that I would hustle hard to make my dreams come true. And most importantly, I wasn't just selling a dream, I was selling a business. A highly realistic plan to achieve high growth with stability and how we could multiply their money. And investors should be able to see a very clear path of their money multiplying. And now that I'm an entrepreneur, I can tell you that it wasn't easy. Today we are live across 4 locations. More than 1,000 crores are being infused in the Indian co-living market by multiple developers and investors just to deliver those dream custom-built co-living properties for us. Nothing can define you except you. Your marks don't matter, your job doesn't matter, your designation doesn't matter. As long as you believe in yourself and your ideas and are willing to hustle hard to make your dreams come true, anything is possible. Because if I can go from being a salaried professional earning 7 lakhs per annum to the owner of a 50 crore business in just 2 years of time, then you can do it too. Thank you.